When the right people come together at the right moment, when they care almost as much about winning as they do about each other, they can become the best of the best. As they do about each other, they can become the best of the best.
Welcome to the Best Soccer Show, the best soccer show in the whole world.
Here we go. It's the Best Soccer Show. Jason Davis, Jay Rodius, Jared Dubois in the building. You've been tariff-free since 93.
Yes.
For a while now. For what you are. You're still tariff-free? No tariffs added.
Let's try to think. I only buy American because I'm super patriotic hero.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think I am.
Do you want to show us the American flag eagle combination back tat that you're working on? Like, I know it's a process.
No, not right now. No, I did,
Finished product only.
I mean, look. I mean, come on. I'm rocking a flag behind me for God's sake.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Oh wow, do you appreciate this from our man John Worthington? Do you appreciate this? Is this something you're okay with?
That's something we talked about a while back. Huh?
Wow, maybe he brought it up. Maybe it was John that originally brought it up.
It's been years since we talked about that.
Campbell, what is Bruce Campbell up to right now? I wonder.
Fighting the dead. I don't know.
I mean, maybe still fighting them.
Didn't he also do like what was it? The Amazing Adventures of not Buckaroo Banzai. It was something like that.
No,
it wasn't Buckaroo, but it was like that.
It was like a weird alien western thing or something like that, wasn't it?
I remember being on top of a train and stuff like that. I'll look it up.
Somebody's remember that.
I'll get it. But
Bruce Campbell, the most B actor that's ever be acted in history, right? Come on. Adventures of Briscoe County Jr. See, John would know.
Yes.
Adventures of Briscoe County Jr. There is, and of course this Boba Hotep that deserves mention as well. That's an Elvis thing with like weird Egyptian stuff baked into it. It gets strange. It gets strange. We are going to get strange probably on this show tonight on the Best Soccer Show. Thank you for joining us in our normal time slot. Good to be back here on a Thursday night. We are talking the U.S. men's national team and the Gold Cup campaign, which is quickly approaching. Jared, a couple of friendlies before that, Turkey and Switzerland. And then we dive into the Gold Cup.
I'm way more excited about the friendlies than I am the Gold Cup.
Are you? Okay. Were you more excited about the friendlies than the Gold Cup before the roster dropped today? Or
I haven't seen the roster. Only thing I know about the roster is that Christian Pulisic's not in it. I saw some stuff about that.
That's all you know. No Christian Pulisic.
I keep.
We haven't played that in a long time.
I came in like a virgin.
No. Are you allowed to sing that on this show?
I don't know.
Just because doing Madonna is very, very tough. That's a tough thing. All right, well, then let's dive in. Let's not wait around. Let's show Jared Dubois the roster for the U.S. men's national team camp. Now, this is a camp roster. It was pointed out, very specifically by Michael Cameraman on the call today, which I joined in to listen to Pochettino explain his choices and talk about
They had a cameraman on the call?
They had a cameraman. He's been there forever, that cameraman. He explained that this is a camp roster, and the finalized roster for the Gold Cup is due June 4th. This is a 27-player roster, and they can take 26 players to the Copa de Oro. So here we go, Mr. Dubois. Your goalkeepers, Matt Freese, Patrick Schulte, Zach Steffen, Matt Turner. Any comments there? Any comments on goalkeepers?
It's odd that there's 4, but I think that's just for, like you said, to make things even for camp. I think that'll be reduced to 3. But other than that, I think that's chalk.
You think it's chalk?
Ethan Horvath, he should be getting a shout in there, but some people would say.
I'm okay with if you're gonna have 4 keepers, give a guy who doesn't have any caps and is new to the group a shot. Matt Freese has had a very good couple of seasons.
What's the other, if it's not even Horvath? Was it Gaga Solina? Like I don't know. What's the?
Here's the shout from SEO Spider, Diego Cochin, who is on the 60 man. Well, he's playing B-level soccer over there in Spain, right? So you prefer a guy who's got the responsibility of being a first-team goalkeeper, and that's Matt Freese. Again, we're talking deep down the list, right? This is the this is the Marcus Hanneman corollary, right? He's not the guy you're going to be turning to more than likely in the important game, but it's good to have him in camp. So we are not going to get too worked up about fourth choice.
Coach is 19 years old. For a keeper, that's a baby. You know? I don't know.
Yep. Gaga, same deal, right? And it's been a weird couple of years for Gaga Slonina. Zach Steffen is a person. Here's our man Mike Thomas. Shout out to Mike. Oh, I got to play Mike Thomas's drop. Like if he's going to mention something,
Michael freaking Orozco Fiscal.
The voice of one Mike Thomas saying that Steffen has fallen so far. I might take Freese over him at this point. Steffen had a bad year last year. Had a good start to this season. Maybe hasn't been quite as good recently. I don't know.
I just think he's not quite as good.
Okay, fair. That's fair. All right.
The U.S. doesn't have a bulletproof keeper. In my mind, Patrick Schulte is probably the best keeper of those four. But Matt Turner, again, as we always say, hasn't done anything to lose a spot. No one's really pushing him. So he's the guy.
Although before this team was even announced, Mauricio Pochettino sort of said, like, Matt Turner, and we'll follow this up with some other comments today that are sort of in the same neighborhood, but Mauricio Pochettino said something about Matt Turner's spot as the number one. By the way, the man is 30 years old at this point. This is what Pochettino
prime
said.
Keeper age.
It's true. He needs to go bald. That's what he needs to do. The man needs to accelerate hair loss. Is that
just because most good keepers are balding, or
our good keepers have always been bald?
Yeah.
Name a good. I mean, Tony Miola is the last one.
Miola.
The last one. They said, I think it's true he's not playing. And we were talking with him, and we translated the idea that for the future, in 1 year's time, I think he needs to find a way to compete every week, because if not, it's going to be a little bit delayed with the rest of his teammates. But I think it's open now. In our mind, it's open for another player, maybe to challenge in between them and maybe try to give the possibility to play for another player. Essentially saying, Matt, go get yourself a starting job, or you might not be the number one in the World Cup next year.
But do you think he means even if that starting job is in MLS?
Absolutely. Okay. I think it could be that. Yeah. But I think that there's got to be a championship job available for Matt Turner. I've seen some bad keeping at the second level in England.
So you're saying he's bad enough to be in the championship?
I'm saying the championship is not a terrible place to be, although it hasn't won Ethan Horvath an opportunity.
You think he's good enough to go up against Wrexham?
Oh yeah, I think he maybe. I don't know. Okay. How good is Wrexham? I only see them on TV. Like I don't really know if they're any good. All right. So before we dive into the rest of these player groups, why don't I mention that number one, we've got a Patreon at patreon.com/thebestsoccershow. Not only do you get access to bonus content, Daily Davis stuff that I do, we did a bonus show, impromptu bonus show. I recorded Jared surreptitious. You didn't know. I probably broke California law.
10 minutes before I knew we were recording.
Yeah, I definitely broke California law. I'm glad you gave me your approval after the fact. Otherwise,
I don't know that I consented.
Oh, okay. I need anybody in the chat a lawyer, because I might need a lawyer after
Jason D. The D's for Diddy.
Oh, okay. Wow. That is
Jason Diddy Davis. They call him.
Whoa.
Damn, dog, that's inappropriate.
Whoa. This is audio only. Well, actually, it was video, but you were totally clothed. Okay, nothing was untoward was happening. Bonus content, access to the Bestie Slack, which is an incredible soccer community. There's like beer trades and travel tips, and people are helping people find stuff that may be more expensive because of tariffs, to speak of your little title there, Jared. Like that's how deep it goes on the Bestie Slack. So you can support the show over there. I just did, for the hell of it, on a Thursday night, because we're here, I started a goal. If we get to 10 super chats over on the chat for the YouTube channel, if we get there by the end of the show, or the next 30 minutes, I guess, we'll do a bonus live. We do a bonus live.
Like I didn't know we had the super chat feature turned on.
We do. We have a super chat feature to turn on. If anybody feels like throwing us a little bit of cash via the super chat, but we also, old school style, we got a phone number. You can actually call the show. I mean, who doesn't want to
dial?
Well, if somebody actually has a dial phone and calls us up, we may have to shut the whole thing down. I don't think we'll ever top that. Like clack, 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 like that one.
Yeah, like that.
Clack, 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 clack. Oh man, people are definitely putting those in their houses just for the.
Do you even have a landline anymore?
No, do not have a landline.
No, either.
And does anybody? That's actually a really good impromptu poll. Does anybody in the chat still have a landline? And if so, why? Tell us why.
If so, how old are you?
How old are you?
The only reason I kept some for a lot of years was because my alarm needed one.
Oh, okay. Like your security.
But literally there was not a jack in my house other than one for the alarm clock, and not a phone plugged into anything. It was just for the alarm.
Just for the alarm. Sometimes the company that you get your cable or your internet from is they bundle it in such a way that you almost have to have the phone just to sort of justify. In fact, I might have a phone number and not even know it. Like, it's possible that there's a phone number assigned to me and I don't even know what that number is. And maybe spammers are calling it right now and they're just going to go nowhere, just into the void, just disappear.
I missed the aerial crank calls.
Oh, the Durkee boys and stuff like that.
Yeah, they're so
like
good.
the one from Canada where the guy's like, your daughter, she bit my dog, or whatever that was. You remember that
I kick
one?
your kick dog?
Yeah, I kick your dog. That's it.
Oh, there's Connor with the super chat right there.
Look at Connor. Connor knows what the game is.
You're seeing
Connor knows
right
the game
here.
is. Yeah, well, yeah. A lot of forehead. I'll tell you that. You show a lot of forehead on this show. All right. Let's get back to this roster. If you want to call us up, you can, of course. Any comments are welcome. Obviously, hit us up in the chat, and we'll share those as well. Defenders, Maximilian Arfston. By the way, they just put his whole name on here. Don't just limit that man to Max.
Is it really Maximilian? My Max is just Max. My son's name is just Max.
You guys can go with Maximilian?
No, it's so pretentious. He's already got Dubois' last name.
But everybody would have called him Max anyway, and then he could always say a Maximilian Dubois, and he could probably scam some girls with some royal type, hey, look, maybe I'm related to somebody over there in England or Europe or France, I guess is what it would be.
Yeah, most likely,
Germany.
Yes.
Maximilian Dubois.
My man's gonna have so much swag he don't need to scam a girl.
You know what? That's better than your club name. What was your club name again? Reginald Merriweather.
Reginald Merriweather, yeah.
Maximilian Dubois is way better than Reginald Merriweather. Way better. All right.
Reginald's got a lot more dangling though.
See, I gave my kids. Well, I gave one a pretty boring name. The other one got a pretty cool name. So we're gonna see how he does with that cool name. Let's see. Serginho Dest back in the team. Jared, are you excited for the return of Dest?
I am. I mean, it's unfortunate that it's in a lackluster roster from what I'm seeing right here, but it's great to see him back. I think the right back position has been something. I mean, don't get me wrong. We've had some serviceable options there in Joe Scally, but it just they provided nothing going forward. So I mean, it's trying to see the balance get back in there between Jedi Robinson and Dest on either wing.
Right. So no Scally, by the way. I mean, before I give away the game here, no Scally. I'm assuming that this is long season, played a lot of minutes, and this is going to be a theme in this team, right? Because I don't know. Well, we didn't have a sense of what to expect. It's not like Pochettino gave us like a teaser, like, guys, this is going to be the A team, or guys, it's going to be the B team, or somewhere in between. He didn't really give us a lay of the land. So when it dropped, we went, let me try to get my bearings. Again, no Joe Scally. Alexander Freeman. Alexander. He's not Alex here. He's Alexander. So again, why no Maximilian but Alexander? This is inconsistent and it bothers me. Do you know about Alex Freeman, Mr.
I don't. I would have to Google that name. I don't know who that is.
He is an Orlando City player. He has made some waves this season in Major League Soccer. He is also the son of Antonio Freeman, formerly an all-pro wide receiver in the National Football League. So
he pedigree.
He athletic pedigree, certainly. DeJuan Jones is here.
Antonio Freeman, do you play for the Texans or the Falcons? Who do you play for?
Antonio Freeman played a lot for the Packers, I think is probably where you would remember him, I think. All right. Yeah. DeJuan Jones, Mark McKenzie, Tim Ream, Chris Richards, Miles Robinson. Okay, so
Chris Richards, FA Cup winner.
FA Cup winner Chris Richards. Matt Turner gets a medal too, by the way, just to point that out. Look, Chris Richards, obviously no problem there. It's Miles Robinson over Austin Trusty. Miles is more physical, bigger player. Don't know if that's the thing. Tim Ream is still here, despite the fact that he's moved to Major League Soccer and maybe dropped a bit in terms of abilities. Probably still the starter at the left side of the center back pairing. Jared, I don't know who
I would say so. I mean, yeah, with this lineup, you would think Pochettino has enjoyed Mark McKenzie. I think Mark McKenzie's played well under Pochettino. So I think there's a possibility that Mark McKenzie and Tim Ream, or Chris Richards and Tim Ream, or if he wants to start moving on, preparing for 2026, the McKenzie and Richards combination could be one that we see here.
Could be. If he cares about what foot these players play with, and look, that has, I mean, Ream's just been consistently in, right? Sure. I mean, I guess we have seen a couple of teams that Pochettino's rolled out without Ream in it, But Reem is the only left-footed center back in this group. I'm just pointing that. There may be some that are comfortable with both feet on some level, but Reem is the only naturally left-footed player in that group. And we'll come back to maybe what the fullback positions look like when we throw up. I'll throw up my potential, the only lineup I could come up with, and see if you agree, Jared, in a second.
Okay.
Midfielders, Tyler Adams, Sebastian Berhalter, Johnny Cardoso, Luca de la Torre, Diego Luna, Jack McGlynn, Malik Tillman, and Sean Zawatsky.
Who?
Sean Zawatsky, Columbus Crew.
Yeah.
Columbus Crew. Decent player. Filled in at center back last year. So
but still, it gives you an idea of where we're at with the call-ups, that's the player that's in. That's getting called in.
The fact that we have an uncapped MLS player who I don't even know was on a lot of people's radar to get a call-up is definitely a thing. Right, because Gio's not here. Who else is missing from the
Tanner Tessman's not in there.
Tanner Tessman, Yunus Musa. Update on or the note on Yunus Musa is that Yunus Musa asked out of camp because of a personal reason. No clue what that is. Not even going to pry. It's just his personal reason.
I don't know.
Could be.
Aiden Morris not in this as well. There's oh yeah, there you go from JTT saying the same thing.
That's the thing. Zawatsky over Morris. I mean, I guess you're talking.
You
about
can say you have Tyler Adams and Cardoso already. You know,
yes.
from a strong and even with Berhalter, who can kind of go both ways. I don't know. I mean, is it too much of the same thing? I think Aiden Morris has more to give offensively than Johnny Cardoso, but I don't know. It's interesting. There's a number of players here, and if Tanner Tessman was worth starting in Nations League, right? Didn't he start Tanner Tessman in Nations League?
Yep.
So I don't understand the switch here. There's got to be a lot of things going behind the scenes for players.
Maybe it's like what you said. Maybe this is just about seeing new play. Like this is not a get ready for the World Cup camp. This is a see a bunch of new players camp. I mean, there's a couple of names that we know, and obviously getting Destin is coming back from injury. Malik Tillman in the midfield is coming back from injury, but Tyler is the captain. He hasn't played a lot for the national team because of his own injury stuff. I can see that one. I mean, I guess I'm making up reasons to call in each individual player. Berhalter is new. Cardoso left camp for the Nations League with an injury. Probably wants to be in. Luca de la Torre is back in after getting kind of sent to Siberia a bit. And I don't know that his play in San Diego demands that he's in this team, but here he is. Diego Luna, we all want to see because of his creativity. Jack McGlynn, also more of an attacking player. Malik Tillman still has never put it together for the national team, but has looked good and just came back from injury, right? So not used up, not running on fumes the way some of these guys are. Again, Zawatsky is sort of like a flyer. Like, why not?
I'm happy to see Sebastian Berhalter in here, along with, as we get to it on the forward side, Brian White, because I think Vancouver's performance has warranted those two players getting a look. And for Sebastian Berhalter in particular, I think it's a really cool opportunity for him. Excited to see what he's gonna do. I don't know that he's gonna start, out of these players, but I don't know. There are a few odd holes here. Like I said, there's a lot of names missing. McKinney's missing. Moose's missing. Varina's missing. So these guys are going to get some opportunities, especially in a tournament setting where you're going to get multiple games.
Right. And I wonder when we get to the big name missing and some of the other stuff, I wonder if the fact that Weston McKennie and Tim Weah and Gio Reyna simply were not available, meaning
Club World Cup.
This was not up to Pochettino. This was up to those clubs. They denied the call-ups because FIFA allowed them to. If that sort of set the tone for the rest of the team. Like once you know you don't have Weston, once you know you don't have Tim Weah, once you know you don't have Gio Reyna, you just go, well, we might as well experiment. And then we get to Christian Pulisic. So the forward group, Brendan Aronson, Patrick Agyemang, Folarin Balogun, Damian Downs, Quinn Sullivan, Brian White, Haji Wright.
Again, there's a couple of things missing that we don't have an answer on. Like, at least I don't have an answer. Where's Josh Sargent in this?
Josh Sargent, according to Pochettino, was just a football decision. He just wasn't good enough, according to Pochettino.
Fourth place scorer in the championship and player of the year for Norwich City. And this not is as good as Damian Downs, who's playing second level Bundesliga.
This is but they're different players, right? What Damian Downs brings to the table is flat out speed. That's not Josh Sargent's game. And if you're going to bring Agyemang, and I don't think that Agyemang is necessarily better than Sargent, but he's fresh, he's new, he hasn't had his run yet, or a big one. He scored last time he was with the team. I know his MLS season has not been fantastic so far, but you see something in Ajamang. Brian White, again, a hot hand, a guy who's scoring a bunch of goals, and
totally justified.
Maybe you just say, I prefer Brian White right now because of his run of scoring over Josh Sargent. Or we know Josh Sargent. Let's get a better book on Brian White. Again, I don't like it because I think you should go try to win this tournament with the best team available to you. And I don't think that this is it. But
and at this point, I can't remember. We're still waiting to find out if Club America is going to be in, right?
Club America plays LAFC on May 31st.
Is that may be why we don't see Zendejas here in a very liquid, very like thinned down forward pool.
Pochettino specifically said that's why Zendejas is not here, because if he does end up going to the Club World Cup, he will not be available. They couldn't call him in because of the potential of him being involved in the Club World Cup. And that would be, again, Club America would have a right to turn down the call up. And I guess they could have put him on the list, but they're not going to bring him into the camp because he's preparing for that game, or he's playing actually the Liga.
Well, this is a training roster camp. This isn't the finalized roster. By the time they make the finalized roster, they'll know whether or not he's available.
That's true, right? That's true. This is a training, but again, Club America is playing in the first leg of the Liga MX Clausura finals, Liga finals tonight at 10 p.m. Eastern. So we figure that Zendejas will be involved with that.
This is a crazy. This is a crazy stat from John Tannewell, by the way. The date right here, November 20th, 2019. According to John, I haven't checked this, but I'm sure he's right. Yeah, that's the last time Josh Sargent scored with the national team.
But which is, again, a reason a lot of people would say, don't even bother calling him up. If he can't score the national team, why is he there? No matter what he's done with Norwich.
COVID hadn't happened.
He's a pre-COVID guy. Yeah.
Wow, it hit him hard.
Yeah, the whole thing. All right. Again, mentioning the forwards here leads me to this question. Where are the wide forwards? Not wingers. I don't want to get locked into wingers, but who are the wide forwards? Maybe that's the question. Who are the wide forwards, Mr. Dubois?
I mean, Brendan Aronson can do it. Haji Wright can do it. I'm not quite sure exactly. I mean, I'm sure this is your lineup you put together right here.
This is just off the top of the dome. And you could make an argument that Haji Wright should be in here over Aronson, or that Luna should play where I have McGlynn or Tillman. And then that opens up a spot to have Aronson and Haji Wright on the field. But
I'll tell you honestly, with this lineup, I'd rather see a 4-4-2. And now I know I'm the guy that says that all the time.
Do that.
Why not? Diego Luna at the top of a diamond?
I guess. So Pochettino did in his comments, and I think JTT could back me up, although it was in Spanish. The one time in his comments today that he spoke about tactics, it was about width, about where the width comes from, and about having players who are going to tuck inside to allow the fullbacks to get up the field. And I will point out that in this lineup that I have, and I think these are the two obvious candidates to start a meaningful game, Serginho Dest and Max Arfsten are bombers. One is a wingback through and through, and Max Arfsten. The other one is Serginho Dest.
I almost would rather see someone else at right back and let Serginho Dest play right forward in this lineup.
I mean, I suppose.
Where's the wingers, right? If you really want some wing play, you want something isolated on the outside.
Yeah, look, and obviously Pochettino could choose to play this sort of unbalanced, where one of the fullbacks stays wide, which is what Jedi Robinson would do if he was here, right? And one of the other, and then the other fullback cuts in. Dest is going to want to cut in. He likes to do that. What does that mean for the width? Is Luna going to camp out there? You could obviously have Luna playing in the pocket, and he could be a tilted number 10, whereas McGlynn and Tillman are more facilitators or more ball rotation kind of guys. I mean, I haven't seen it from Tillman in the creative level for the national team. Again, it needs to be a competent midfield that doesn't get overrun. So maybe there's not a defense if you're just really relying on Adams.
This question for the chat: why didn't Jedi Robinson get called up? I believe this is just another management of minutes. Correct.
This, according to Pochettino, is about a lingering issue that he wants to get taken care of in the offseason. So Jedi Robinson is not 100% fit, according to Mauricio Pochettino in the comments today, right? So he played through the season. It wasn't something that kept him off the field for Fulham, but they're not going to risk him in this camp, considering he needs to go get a second opinion. He was talking about getting second opinions and that kind of stuff. So there is that. Now, obviously, the big one, Jared, is Christian Pulisic, and this is what was included in the release today of the roster by U.S. Soccer. Christian and his team approached the federation and the coaching staff about the possibility of stepping back this summer, given the amount of matches he's played in the past 2 years at both the club and international level, with very little break. After thoughtful discussions and careful consideration, he made the collective decision that this is the right moment for him to get the rest he needs. The objective is to ensure he's fully prepared to perform at the highest level next season. This is, again, from Matt Crocker, U.S. Soccer sporting director. Jared, give me your thoughts.
It feels like they're putting they're passing the buck to AC Milan a bit here.
I think they're passing the buck to Christian Pulisic. Christian Pulisic's apparently the one who said, "Hey, I need a rest."
They said the club made the request as well. The club is contacted.
Well, they talked to the club about how Christian feels, but it's
Christian played on the weekend for a team that's in 9th place. If they're so concerned, why is he not? Why is he still playing?
When it says Christian and his team, I don't think that means AC Milan.
His team. I'm thinking AC Milan. You're saying his personal team.
I'm saying his entourage. I'm saying Christian Pulisic's entourage.
Okay. I read it differently when I read that initially.
Reached out and said, "Hey, Christian needs a break. Can you give Christian a break and not call him up?"
His team is his mom and dad, right?
Well, he's also got the girlfriend. I think he's probably got his personal chef, like they all do. I think he's got some boy. His boy from Hershey is like following him around doing like video. Didn't you see that?
What do they do? One episode every 6 months. I think that's about the rate it comes out.
SEO Spider saying he's been managing a hip flexor issue since March. Okay, and I will throw up.
He's in the locker room. Okay,
there was at least one other sort of insight into this. This is Taylor Twellman on X. Now he's saying with emojis, how old are we? This is USSF Poach putting this on CP. Make no mistake about it. I'm going to come back to that. Word is his hip injury is chronic and needs the summer to figure it out. Okay, so, and this is what SEO Spider is saying. He's been managing a hip flexor issue since March, which is very possible, right? It's very possible that Christian Pulisic has some knocks and whatever. If he is healthy enough to play for Milan, it's going to bother people that he does not want to show up for the U.S. men's national team for a continental championship, especially considering the World Cup is just over a year away. And the way I read this from Taylor, and okay, I don't know for sure, but it's fascinating to me that Taylor says, he sets this up by saying that U.S. Soccer and Pochettino are putting this on Pulisic, meaning they're shifting the burden. Why is Pulisic not here, everybody who might have bought tickets to see Christian Pulisic play? Well, it's because Christian Pulisic turned down his call-up, right? That's what Taylor.
Well, you want to go even more Alex Tremaine Jones with it and get a little bit conspiracy. Previously on the last episode of Christian Pulisic with the national team, this guy was waving off Pochettino trying to sub him out. Remember? That's like the last time we saw Pulisic with the national team.
I don't actually doubt Pulisic's commitment. I really don't. Okay,
but Pochettino, you can't let that stand, right? Like you're telling a player what to come off the field.
Yeah. I mean, again, Pochettino seemed pretty sanguine about this. The part I think is interesting is Twellman saying word is his hip injury is chronic and needs the summer to figure out. Now, word, where does that word come from? Now, is Taylor Twellman, is he reading this from Italian sources? He
got it from SEO Spider.
Is Fabrizio Romano tweeting about the hip issue that Pulisic is carrying? There are rumors that there are clubs circling and Pulisic might be eyeing a move. I don't know if that's true, right? It's all kind of nonsense.
Well, I think he's from what I've heard, the deal is done for his extension. He hasn't signed, right? Because he wants to know what the coaching and player moves are going to be going into next year,
right? And probably if Reinders gets sold to City, that's money to spend, and they get financial situations better, but does not make them better on the field. And John Tannenwald, JTT, and I will properly play the man in because he deserves it.
JTT.
OMFPG13, it's JTT!
He says, an ESPN reporter in Italy. All right? I saw it go around, and I will try to find it. I will also say that maybe that's where Twellman got it, but maybe Twellman was told by somebody close to Pulisic, hey, could you say that he has a hip injury so that it not as much heat on Pulisic for turning down the call, that instead this is really about an injury issue that he's managing? I mean, would you put it past anybody in that camp to say, hey, this doesn't feel right that the Fed is putting it on Christian? Maybe we kind of lessen that heat by saying, oh, it's actually an injury and he really does need some time off.
Yeah, that's a conspiracy theory too far for me. I think this probably is actually what's happening, but it's just, at the end of the day, I think everyone here would trade him healthy next summer rather than this summer, right? It's an easy trade.
Right. Yeah.
So if you really truly feel you're investing in the World Cup next year, then it's a no-brainer. But it's unfortunate because if you had performed well in Copa America, if you performed well at Nations League, this doesn't hurt. It doesn't hurt because it's like, oh, Pochettino's got this figured out. Team's got this figured out. We have an idea who we are, our identity and stuff like that. Go ahead and go enjoy your summer, son. Go follow your girl on the LPGA tour. Do your thing.
I don't think she's quite there, but she's trying. She's trying. Yeah. She's working her way up the ladder.
Enjoy your summer, man. Enjoy your summer. I got no problem with that because you would have earned it. But when your team is in shambles, when you're the captain of the team and you're not coming off the field when the coach says you're supposed to come off the field, it starts just having a lot of lingering things out there about it feels like under the surface, this is not in any way secure.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, look, my largest issue is that issue of the limited time before a World Cup. And really, it wouldn't matter if it's home soil or not, but that does ratchet up the pressure to put on a good performance. That's happening here. And
I'm worried that we're going to be the CONCACAF Belgium. That's what I'm worried about, because when you look at the players, you've got FA Cup winners, you've got Eredivisie winners, players of the season. You've got one of the top performing players in all of La Liga. Obviously, Serie A. You've got a center midfielder being pursued by Atletico Madrid. You've got players that are having club success, and it is not translating to the national team. And this is very similar to how Belgium looked for years. It was just like, this team should be doing better on paper. Granted, this is a level down for that. Belgium, obviously, way better talent or something like that. But for the CONCACAF version of this,
I got you. Yeah,
it's why can this not come together for the national team? Why is this different when they all get together in Dallas?
I know we don't love crossing the streams, and I'm going to be real careful that I don't call you the wrong name.
Listen, and Belgium, Channel says Belgium finished third in 2018. That was underperforming for them, though. They were a favorite to win.
Well, yeah, but when you get into luck at that stage of the tournament, it's not the end of the world that they finished third. Obviously, we would take third in 2026. I would take that in a heartbeat. What I was going to say is I spent 3 hours on the radio, which
WNBC.
I have a
WNBC.
radio.
Wait, people still have radios? Do they crank them?
These
what frequency do I get you on?
These actually work with water wheels, I think is how they make
UHF, VHF.
Yeah, all of those. DTF, I think is maybe what it's called. Yeah.
Oh,
it's a strange new frequency. Yeah.
Oh man.
Actually, that's what I should have called the bonus. I was going to call the bonus on the Patreon DTF. Why didn't I do that? I should have done that. Yeah. Sometimes I call when Alda's not there, I'll say, "Oh, it's DTF today. It's not WTF." On that show, lots of sort of arguing on the radio today, not in a mean-spirited way, but just in a debatey kind of way, where he's saying, "Oh, this is okay. This is the right move. Like Christian rest. He needs to rest. You don't know how hard it is. You didn't play." He told me, "You didn't play. You don't know. You can't possibly know how why are you would you tell the pilot how to fly the plane?" That was literally what he said to me today. And I'm thinking, if this was
no, but I would tell him not to have a drink while he did it.
Maybe that's part of it. I said, the thing for me is not he's taking a break because he needs it. If he needs it, fine. The thing is that this feels wrong at a time when we have yet to see this team perform and play well, good soccer in a tough environment, even a CONCACAF environment, under our $6 million man Mauricio Pochettino.
And he's not performing even in the when he's not on a high level platform. Playing against CONCACAF level opponents is too much for us these days.
Yeah. He was asked today about the issue of sort of the spirit problem for the U.S. men's national team, the attitude that these guys aren't bringing it. I think it was Ron Blum who asked this question. When you are now in the national team, it's not because you are here to try to replace people that are sure they are going to be here. I guess this is kind of like, Pulisic's not here, but don't think somebody's going to replace him. But he says you have the possibility to defend your place. How are you going to defend your place? That's important for us. You need to fight. You need to show attitude, the right attitude. But not only that, perform and be brave. Follow the rules that we set in the group. I think this is really important for us. They're going to compete in a fair way with different people that maybe are not involved today in this squad. some of this is hard. I mean, again, he's speaking in a second language. He did again answer some questions in Spanish.
It feels a little bit like he's speaking against himself a little bit in some of these spots. But like I said, it could be just the way he chooses to communicate in English.
He talked about the rhythms and the problems of sort of being together. He actually said at one point that, I don't know if I have it, maybe it's in the next slide, but he said something like people overrate or people think too much about being together. Somebody asked about this idea that, did you call this team up to send a message to other players that you didn't call up? And maybe Tanner Tessman is in that. Maybe John Capuzio is in that group. I'm trying to think of who else is maybe in that group. Maybe Joe Scally. In a previous question, you say to me, is this roster to punish or to say pay attention to some players? What we want to create in our national team is people desperate to come, but desperate to come to perform. To perform means to follow the rule, create good atmosphere, be part of the team, be able in every single aspect to meet the Federation's demand, and to understand that it is possible for it to be the last possibility to be with us. So basically trying to create this kind of desperate thing, right?
Perform when it's your time. Yeah, you have to perform when you get that limited opportunity. Whereas you could say under Berhalter, there were guys that were never going to lose their spot.
Right, but do you think that Pulisic being given this window off, or anybody for that matter, kind of sends the message that those guys think of their spots as solid and theirs? I mean, okay, nobody's going to say that Christian Pulisic shouldn't be in any U.S. men's national team called up, but there is an issue with sort of star treatment at some level, right? Like you.
So is it? Are we as Americans? Do we as Americans think it's wrong? Because this isn't the first time we've seen this, right? Like Klinsmann didn't take Landon Donovan to the World Cup.
Yeah. Okay.
Is this a different coaches that aren't Americans see the game differently than us? Because like, is there a chance he doesn't take Pulisic to the World Cup?
No, there's no chance he doesn't take Pulisic to the World Cup. Absolutely, Pulisic is going to the World Cup. Absolutely, he is. I mean, okay, that's just me presuming he'll take the best attacking player the United States has, and let's not get into that argument about whether Pulisic actually is. He's the most talented attacking player. Okay, so I don't know. He said because we only have time to maybe train 1, 2, 3 times, then play 1, 2 recovery sessions, then play, then go home. Maybe way too much to be all together again. If you arrive to the camp and you want to spend a nice time, play golf, go for a dinner, visit my family, visit my friend, is that the culture we want to create? No.
He plays a lot of golf.
Is he suggesting that the players have done that?
I know they've done it. The U.S. Soccer has shown them is taken with cameras and showed them on their days when playing golf. Weston McKennie, Christian Pulisic, Brendan Aronson, like these guys, they show all the time playing golf. He's taking shots. I feel he's taking shots.
He says it in such a measured way, because it's filtered through his accent and his. Hey,
we know Gareth Bale played golf, so I don't know what he's going to say.
Yeah, but Gareth Bale was never getting dropped by Wales. What we want?
I'm talking about when he's at Tottenham.
Well, what we want to do is go to the national team, arrive and be focused, and spend all my focus and energy on the national team because we need to create this culture about winning. If we want to be good in 1 year's time, we need to think that today is the most important day. How is this roster sending that message, though? I mean, again, okay, I know a couple of guys couldn't come. Pulisic not coming, does it send the message that today is the most important day? If he says, no, Christian, absolutely take the summer off. It's still, again,
he's saying the next 3 months are not that important.
Yeah, I don't know. It's not okay to say, I wait. The World Cup is in 1 year. It's in 6 months. It's in 1 month, and then it's too late. I mean, I don't know. Again, it seems
if
like
you're Pochettino and you feel, let's say he's not even a year yet, right? He's like 10 months since he was announced or something like that, or
his first camp was November. I can't remember. September.
Yeah, it was after Copa America. We haven't got back to the Copa America yet. So
yeah.
So let's assume that in the last 6 months, it has become dreadfully apparent to Pochettino that the culture of the American player is wrong. Let's say he feels that is the number one thing that he has to fix. This is your biggest window in time to do that and still be ready for the World Cup, right? You had Nations League, which games mattered. He had to learn the team for the first few months. But if he is assessed that the number one thing he has to fix with this team is the American mindset and entitlement of the American player, then maybe this is his window to do that, and this is what he's doing.
Okay, maybe, but can he do that in absentia for Pulisic, McKennie, Weah, Musa? Can that be cannot be the method here. Like, oh, those guys that can't come, they're going to find out through, I don't know, through some weird osmosis.
Well,
or
the
not
weird
even
thing is
osmosis.
he gets to kind of hide this a bit because Tim Weah, Weston McKinney, Gio Reyna not available. Now, what this roster would have looked like, and if those names were still on it, like, do you think it's more than a 50% chance that Gio Reyna would have been on this roster?
Man, that's tough to know. It's really
Dude didn't
hard
rate
to
him.
know.
Didn't rate him during Nations League, right?
Yeah,
Hasn't done anything at the club level to say that he should rate him.
I have no idea. And he just, again, obviously sent a message to Matt Turner about he'll get some playing time.
So it's really interesting that we don't get to see if any of those players were going to get the call. Were they going to get
we talked about the Nations League effort. We talked about some of the problems with it. We've talked about, like, maybe we just need to call in a team, a bunch of guys who need to prove something. And essentially that's what this is, right? Essentially there are a couple of names here that I think are, not established, but known names who you could say maybe don't have something to prove exactly. And Tim Ream probably has something to prove because he might be too old next year. Dest has to prove something because he's never played under Pochettino. A lot of these guys are MLS players who definitely have something to prove and maybe can use this as a launching pad to get to Europe if that's what's necessary for them to be in the World Cup team next year. You could obviously make an argument that Balogun is also in the same boat as Dest, having just come back from injury. Ajimang still proving himself. Damian Downs, he's obviously had a good season, but nobody really knows what he's going to be at this level. People just got very excited because he's a dual national and because he's had Germany youth team caps. And it kind of feels like, we're winning a battle.
How old is
I think
he?
he's 20. He might be 20. But again, there's a segment of the U.S. men's national team fan base that I don't know. I don't know. Just like going ape shit over dual nationals and how Pochettino is not doing his job because he's not contacting every dual national who's made a couple of appearances in a top 5 league in Europe. And then if he's doing anything but sort of chasing down these possibilities during his time between camps, then he's stealing money from the federation. And I don't know, that brinksmanship, that sort of hyperbole feels wrong to me, but I still am kind of concerned here because I don't know. I don't know that I was told today, you got to trust the guy. Like, why? Why do I have to trust the guy? Because he had some nice moments at Spurs?
If you're Christian Pulisic or part of his team, you need to put out a message. You need to confirm like that this is what. Yeah, hey, good luck to the boys this summer. I'm going to take care of this hip. We're looking to be ready for Serie A in the fall and World Cup next summer. Like, confirm it. Or if you don't confirm it, I think that's a statement in itself.
Yeah, I think I got.
I don't want to be. Here's the thing: I don't want to be watching the U.S. team get beat over the summer, and he's posting Instagram posts of being at the beach.
I think I've got a call here. Do we have a caller on the line? Can you hear us?
All those people complaining about Pochettino, were they the same people who were really happy when we hired a big name foreigner?
I think a lot of those people just their stock in trade is being angry about the national team. So I don't want to put on them that they were happy, but I think they were happier than when Greg Berhalter was head coach. Mr. Tannenwald.
Okay. Also, I'm holding a radio in my hand. Next time I'm on camera.
Does it have a crank on it? Jared wants to know if it has a crank on it.
It does not. It does not have a crank on it.
Are there tubes?
Are there?
No, it's no. I mean, there might be inside the thing for all I know. But
I like JT. I get my vision JTT with this decoder ring.
Didn't we replace tubes with like transistors or something? I'm not a guy who knows stuff, but that feels right to me. All right. I mean, JTT, where are you on sort of the mix of this team? Obviously, Pulisic's absence.
My theory with Pulisic's absence is he and Jedi Robinson are the only two people about whom I think Mauricio Pochettino can say in a positive sense, I know what they've got, and I'm not worried about it.
Okay. You don't worry. You don't think there's an issue with messaging around leaving those players out? I mean, again, for Jedi, it's so he's got an injury, and apparently maybe Christian does too, but that is not how it was explained in the press release by U.S. Soccer.
Oh, I didn't say that.
Okay.
It's not good. It is not good.
Okay.
it's funny because there's two things you guys haven't mentioned yet.
Oh, do tell.
One is Pulisic going on CBS after the Canada game in the Nations League and saying, this team is everything to me. I care so much for this team, for this country. I hope people know that about me. I think he's going to take a little heat here and people saying, oh, really?
Well, again, so this is why I think the way the messaging has been handled is interesting. And again, Twellman pointing out on X that the Fed put it in Christian Pulisic's lap. He said Pochettino. I don't know that Pochettino did that specifically, but certainly Matt Crocker's statement did that. And then the way that
I'm fine with that.
You're fine with the statement by U.S. Soccer? What, because of ticket sales? Because they've been marketing around him? Because he's in the new jersey?
No, I'm fine with putting the ball in Pulisic's court.
Okay.
If it's the truth, I'm fine with it.
Okay, but if there is an injury, why wouldn't Matt Crocker say Christian Pulisic is dealing with a chronic issue and asked not to be called up, and we agreed? Why kind of
I'm not a doctor. I don't know what the scale of an injury in italics
right
is.
Right. So by Matt Crocker not specifically mentioning an injury, maybe because he didn't want to lie about it, it feels like Christian Pulisic could play, but is choosing not to, which again puts this back on Pulisic. And then Twellman, which Jared thinks there's a little bit too much conspiracy theory on my part. Twellman saying, word is there's a chronic hip issue, that sort of absolves Pulisic of responsibility here.
I've never seen Jared dabble in conspiracy theories.
JGTMD, let me ask you a question. I want to pivot just slightly here because you've got the insider knowledge on this. Quinn Sullivan gets his call up. Okay. This is about 6 assists on the year, 2 off the lead in MLS. Is that enough to get the call up? I mean, he's not being called up as a midfielder. He's a striker. 1 goal in the season. Is his season good enough to be called up to the national team?
I'm going to correct you slightly only because the game happened last night.
7 assists now. You're right. I apologize.
Added one in the in the Open Cup last night. No, he's a winger, and Pochettino said he's a winger.
Yes,
this is one of the parts in Spanish where Pochettino said he and Aronson also are wingers.
Yes, he defined those. This is what I was talking about, Jared. He defined them as wingers, and he did that in the context of our fullbacks are going to get up the field and be wide. That's what he was saying. Am I wrong, JTT?
No, and he because he was asked, who are the wide guys?
Right.
And Sullivan was one of the answers.
Which he name checked a bunch of guys, so it wasn't like you can get a sense of exactly where his brain is on starting lineups. But Sullivan may have been the first one he mentioned, which could be an indication of something.
Well, JTT, let me ask you a question.
I think he went.
Go ahead.
I think he went for the wingers before the outside backs and how he did that list.
All right, fair enough.
So JTT, let me ask you in terms of your depth chart. If Zendejas is available, who's the odd man out? Is it Quinn Sullivan?
I mean, it could be. I think you've got 2 guys, and Paxton Aronson is another one who I think some people, not only in this town, believe should have been on this squad. And he can play in a few different places. I think Quinn Sullivan's one of them, and I think at a certain level, Sean Zawatsky, even though we're not talking like for like, he's also in the odd man out portion of the proceedings, given who else is in there.
Okay. So, in your mind, then Quinn Sullivan, like Brian White, like Sebastian Berhalter, he's being selected because of the Americans playing in MLS. He's one of the most informed Americans.
Well, and I think he does. He's versatile. He is becoming. I have complained that he is not yet a ball dominant midfielder. He is starting to get better at that. And that is in part for, as some of your commenters who are Union fans in the chat will probably say, it is because the Union have a complete lack of them at the moment, other than Quinn Sullivan. But he is playing legitimately well and connecting play and creating scoring chances for teammates and doing so from central and wide positions. And so there was some logic to the idea, I think, of, okay, and Pochettino said this, let's give him a shot.
Yeah, I think
Now,
what the hard
would
thing
I rather have Alejandro Zendejas and Paxton Aronson? Yes, I would.
Okay. All right.
I think one of the hard things for U.S. soccer fans to swallow this summer is that as you're rounding in a year out from the World Cup, I think where we all expected to be was dialing in the A team, and not introducing Sebastian Berhalter, Quinn Sullivan, Zadowski, what was Zadinsky? I can't remember the guy's name now.
Zawatsky, man, come on.
Freeman. It's a weird place to be a year out from the World Cup, and instead of honing the fine, instead of sanding the team, we're chiseling the team.
Let me ask JTT before I let him go, because I do want to move on to some other stuff. Just on what Jerry just said, Jonathan, do you think that Mauricio Pochettino should have the trust of the fan base, that he understands how this is supposed to work, and that when we get to May of next year, he'll have an idea of what his best team looks like, and we'll go into the World Cup with some tailwinds, and we can trust it's all going to come together? Or do you think, maybe he doesn't value this time as honing, as Jared said? Do you think that this is wasted time?
I think he clearly doesn't value this team of time as honing, but I wouldn't say it's wasted. I said this after the Nations League, and I think it's starting to prove true, even though there isn't a lot of time left. The flop at the Nations League was such that Pochettino had the latitude to say, I'm calling in a bunch of different guys to see if they do what I want to do. And we're going to find out that's this summer if that happens. And then we'll know, I think in September, October, and November, we'll be a lot closer to knowing who's going to really be looking like they're going on the World Cup team. And it goes back, Jason, to what you and I have talked about before on the days when Jared had better things to do with his life than listen to me on your show, which was the comments that Weston McKennie and Tyler Adams gave me in LA, remember?
Mm-hmm.
About how McKennie thought that he was plug and play.
Yeah. Yeah.
So this is the moment the way I see it in the bigger arc of things, this is the moment that fosters the competition for those incumbents who were too comfortable to say, this is, if you're not going to do this, here are the other guys who are going to come in and take your spots.
All right.
Jason, can you put the roster back real quick? I want to ask one more question. When you got that back up. So JDT, Jason, and myself, I'd like us all to answer this question. Give one name on this list, 10 caps or under, that you think has the best chance of making the World Cup team.
Ooh, I will
making the World Cup team at 10 caps or under.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You want to go first?
I can because I thought of the question, but
yeah, go ahead. You look up the roster, JTT, since you're on the old-fashioned telephone, and
he's on the radio. I heard. Let's see. Yeah, for me, I think this is probably a little bit the easy one to pick, but I believe Patrick Agyemang still has less. I think he probably has 5 caps or something like that. And Pochettino seems
guy.
I think Pochettino really likes him. I think he really likes him.
Agyemang has 4.
Yeah. So I would say 10 caps and under.
And Brian White.
Brian White has 1, right? 2.
Brian White has 4 caps. He and
4.
He and Agyemang to me are in the same category, which is if there's a hot hand at the start of the MLS season next year.
But the reason I'll take Agyemang instead of Brian White is because Brian White obviously is a proven goal scorer at the MLS level, but what he doesn't have is those intangible physical assets that Agyemang has. That's going to give problems to defenses 80th minute if you're subbing in for the last 10 minutes.
Yeah, but I think you're just underestimating Brian White's savvy as a forward, which I don't think Agyemang has a ton of yet. I think he does have the physical tools, but I think
if you have a Balogun or something like that, you have savvy already. If you have Ricardo Pepi, you have the savvy.
Maybe. Go ahead, John.
I could give you a really obvious answer and say Patrick Schulte.
That's too easy.
He's only got 3 caps.
Yeah.
Yes. I should say field position. Depending on how badly or not, Cologne does in the Bundesliga next season.
Yeah.
Positionally, Damian Downs might be the guy if he keeps playing well.
Okay. That's a big X factor.
Okay.
I mean, I
that's
think that Diego
interesting.
Luna has less than 10 caps, right? I mean, he only has a couple, I believe.
Well, let me ask you guys a question before I get to a possibility here. After Jedi Robinson, who's your second choice left back right now?
I always liked
was it? Big question.
I always like, was it Lundstrom?
Lund's not getting called up. He's available.
I know, but I'm just telling you, I've always been impressed with him when he's played. I've always felt that the drop off wasn't that big.
I'm going to get to the chat who is screaming for one particular player, but Max Arfsten is kind of he's kind of a guy that I think could make this team. I think he does things that Pochettino likes, and I think that you have some issues at depth at that position. So if we're talking about someone to back up Jedi Robinson,
and in the past, it hasn't been such a need because you had Tim Ream who could push out to that left back position if needed. But 4 years on from the last World Cup, I don't think any of us feel that he can be in that position.
Nothing, and that sort of tilts the field. You're going to have to find ways to get with other in other other manners, and maybe you could with a player in midfield or a player up.
I would go so far as to say that that Anthony Robinson is the most important player for the U.S. men's national team.
That's probably fair. I think that's probably fair. Now the chat is screaming for Diego Luna. Nathan says Diego Luna. Our man Mike Thomas says Diego Luna. We've got Adam who says the answer is Luna. Is Diego Luna? Does he feel like a World Cup player quite yet? I mean, I think some of that has to do with where Gio Reyna is.
I think that's the big factor. If Gio Reyna continues to be persona non grata with the Pochettino, then I think Diego Luna has a chance. But otherwise, he's going to be fighting with Gio Reyna for that spot. And let's not forget. Let me get this one last point. Diego Luna has been roster kryptonite at multiple levels of the U.S. men's national team.
What does that mean? What do you mean by kryptonite?
He hasn't been taken. He didn't get taken to the Olympics.
I see. I see.
There's been something about him with coaches that, for some reason, in the long haul, hasn't.
I also want to mention something else about Diego.
Starting to change.
Okay,
I hope so.
I think so too. I think he's proven some people. I mean, Pochettino and the big balls, which I don't have it right now, but I do think he respects the guy, and I think he sees something in him. The thing about Diego Luna, though, and I bring up Giovanni Reyna and his potential involvement and where he will be going into the World Cup. If I asked you what Giovanni Reyna does for the team, would you say that he is more of a chance creator or more of a goal scorer? Jared?
Chance creator.
He's a chance creator.
Goal scorer.
You think Gio Reyna is more of a goal scorer, Jonathan?
How many chances has he created lately?
Okay, well, that's fair. Diego Luna, I mean, you can create chances without getting an assist. That's fair, but he has 0 assists this season. He does have goals. Diego Luna's goal dangerous more than he is a facilitator for other players at RSL right now. And there's a chance, by the way, he'll have a new head coach not too far along if things.
But who's RSL starting striker either, though? I mean,
but this is what I'm saying. Like, if that's the role he has at RSL, how does that port over to the U.S. men's national team? And then what does that mean for his chances of making a World Cup?
Yeah, but we've seen it many times in the past where a person's role at the club team is different than their role at the national team.
No, it is.
Look at Weston McKennie.
He is, but again, you just said it. He's a 21-year-old player with limited number of caps and appearances for the U.S. men's national team. It's not a plug and play thing for Diego Luna. Like, you can't just. Max Arfsten talked about this, and I think he's learning it. But he said, "Look, I'm a wing back with Columbus, and I'm a fullback with the national team, and those are different positions. And it's changed. I had to learn how to be a fullback when he goes into national team camp. We think Diego Luna is learning how to be more of a reserved attacking midfield. I mean, it depends on what Pochettino wants from him. He can play him higher.
Yeah, but let's not act like Diego Luna is going to be a starter at the World Cup.
I
mean, you're going to want him to be that X factor, that style of player when he's coming in for 20 minutes.
If he's just a chaos agent and you're looking for a goal, I can see that. That is absolutely a thing. And that's probably why most people wanted to see him in the team in the first place. Go, John.
I think he's going to play at the Gold Cup.
I think he will too. I think he will too.
I think he'll shine.
And I got
I put him in my thing here, whatever this is, whatever mess of a lineup I put together. He's in there because I don't know how you keep him out.
I got one more name too. We've been talking for years about how Gio Reyna was running the risk about getting out hustled for a national team place by somebody with more with less raw talent but more hustle. I want to put another name on the table of a guy who I'm going to be scrutinizing closely in this Gold Cup, and that's Malik Tillman.
Yeah.
He's had his chances.
I've said it.
Yeah.
How many times have I said it on this show over the years? He does not play well against CONCACAF competition.
No.
He and Cameron they both have the same disease. I mean, both these guys, when they get to the national team, they just cannot perform.
Do you feel like what's saving Malik Tillman here is the return from injury and not having played? He hasn't played for Pochettino yet, right? Or am I missing a camp that he called last year?
He was in the fall.
He might have been in the fall. He might have been. Maybe he was. Maybe he was.
I don't remember.
But Josh Sargent gets left out because Pochettino clearly doesn't think Josh Sargent's good enough. And maybe that's a role thing. But Malik Tillman's here?
I'm not objecting.
Yeah.
I'm not objecting to Josh Sargent not being on this team. 5.5
I don't know, John. It's hard to leave 14 goals or whatever he had behind on not bring it in. That's a lot.
If Ricardo Pepi was healthy, I'm sure that this conversation would be completely different.
It would. Yes.
Sure.
Yeah.
But is Tillman? The interesting thing to me about this camp is that they've got 2 friendlies against European teams before playing the Gold Cup. And those are going to be completely different kinds of games than what the kinds of games that the Gold Cup will be.
Yeah.
It is entirely possible to me that Tillman could play quite well against Turkey or Switzerland, and people will say, oh my gosh, here he is. And then he can't do it the same in the Gold Cup, and people say what happened. And the answer is they're completely different kinds of soccer games.
That's fair.
And maybe you need different players.
I just don't think he likes the physical nature of CONCACAF. I mean, look where he plays his club ball in Eredivisie. He's great there. But does anyone worried about getting crunched in a tackle in the Eredivisie? It's just not the same level of domestic or of pressure on the ball. It's a physicality that you're going to see at the CONCACAF level.
And I said this today when I wrote about Paxton Aronson not making it. He played very well for Utrecht. Eintracht Frankfurt's very happy with how he played, but it's still the Dutch league.
Yeah. There you go. John, I'm gonna move us on. We hit the hour mark and a little bit more, so appreciate the phone call. Thanks for calling us up. It's like old times.
I had the privilege of watching the Galaxy in person last week.
And
I can attest to how not good they are.
No, here we go.
I disagree.
No, you don't.
I think they're better than their record. I don't think they're good right now.
Yeah. I let JTT go. I had a chance to talk to Greg Vanny today on the radio, Jared. It was interesting. He didn't seem thrilled
defensive?
to be
Was he defensive?
talking on the. No, Winaldo was sort of effusive with praise. Like, I know that this will work out. I'm glad they re-signed you. All that stuff. And I asked him about tactics. I asked about changing his plan when things are going this bad. And he gave us intelligent. He's a smart coach. He gave us intelligent answers, and we'll see. All right, he's
got to find a good way to get Mauricio Cuevas into the lineup, though. The guy's one of the only people that's shining right now.
We are overtime, but I wanted to throw at you. Speaking of your LA Galaxy, Jared, did you see this? Did you see what happened?
I saw something about this. I don't know much about it, but I remember seeing something going around. Like somehow people were packaging drugs that had Galaxy on it or something.
I think it's pretty standard procedure for drugs to be packaged with like labels and weird, like random logos and stuff.
Are those supposed to be Hollywood video cassette tapes?
I think so. And this is a Hollywood. I don't know. It's a Hollywood sign. Would Hollywood video look like that?
Yeah, it kind of looked like that. Yeah.
Here's a close up of the packed drugs. What is?
But if you're going to do it, shouldn't the Galaxy symbol be big enough to cover up the fact that there's drugs shrink wrapped right below it?
I don't think they're necessarily trying to hide that it's drugs. I think it's a labeling for where this came. I think it's an origin thing.
Oh,
maybe. Yeah, it could be a flavor thing too. Like, I don't know. What am I?
It's the Galaxy. It'll get you high.
If you smoke this though, you're not going to feel good for a while.
Maybe the Galaxy needs. They need to get higher on the table.
I don't even know if that's smokable drugs. I have no idea how you consume that package.
Hey, that's how you know you've made it as a club team when drug dealers think your brand recognition is high enough to put it on international smuggling.
Hey man, David Beckham put you guys on the map, and Zlatan Ibrahimovic only elevated that. He only
what we need is Robbie Fowler. I mean, if down on the touchline.
Is that what we're doing?
You don't remember when he did his goal celebration with the chalk?
Yeah, no. I do remember that. I do remember that.
I was signed the wrong Liverpool legend.
I was gonna bring something else to the table, but it didn't port over. So I'm just gonna tell you about this thing I discovered today, and maybe the besties can decide if we should give it a little bit of attention. So famously, we were on television. Jared, do people know about us being on television? I'm not lying. We were on television. Okay, our voices,
our faces were not.
Our voices were on. I mean, these faces should have been on television. Let's say they screwed up by not putting our faces on television.
Briscoe County Jr. over here.
Our voices were on television. We came out of the car radio in a show called Matador that was on, what was El Rey? El Rey was the name of the network. Yeah. It was a show in which a former
FBI agent.
It's
like Point Break and soccer put together.
Right. So he went undercover in an LA soccer team. He tried out in an open tryout, got added to the team, apparently good enough.
Like Marky Delgado.
We're talking about Gabriel Luna, who has played a number of famous people, famous roles since then.
Yeah.
And who was the bad guy? Alfred Molina.
Alfred Molina. Doc Ock from the Spider-Man movies.
And that's the thing. Like, I don't have the old school drops that we used to have from Matador. I used to have Alfred Molina talking about "This is LA." Yeah. I need more than something. I need star. What do you say? I need more than
players. I need stars.
Anyway, that show, we got on that show because we watched it and talked about it a lot. It was not a good television show.
Did we interview Gabriel Luna too?
We had Gabriel Luna on the show.
I thought
we also, again, we got connected with the producers. They gave us
here it is from Trooper Barry in the chat. I need more than talent. I need stars.
I need more than talent. This is Los Angeles. Here's the way he said it, Los Angeles. And Alfred Molina's an English dude with an Italian name and does American accents. And he was like, this is Los Angeles. I need more than talent. I need stars. Mm-hmm. We enjoyed that, even though it wasn't a great television.
Where are you going here?
There is a show coming out on Peacock, which I don't know if you have it. I do.
I do.
Premier League.
I watched Top Chef on it.
Okay. Well, Peacock has a new show, Peacock Original. Now it's in Espanol. So, you won't be, unless you speak Spanish, you won't be understanding it in its native tongue, but you can obviously read subtitles, right? It's called 90 Minutes. At least in English, it's called 90 Minutes. And my understanding is that it is, I've watched the
about tantric sex.
What? What? No, is that how long you go? Is that really a thing?
No? The whole point of I call it considered 90 minutes tantric. 90 seconds. How do you say that in Spanish?
How do you say 90 seconds in Spanish? I thought I downloaded it. I don't have the actual trailer. I was going to play it for
El Señor Segundo.
So it feels like a comedy. It's not. It doesn't feel overly serious.
Okay.
And it says it is about an amateur team in Mexico that I don't know, they have to get into like they're up against a challenge and they go recruit this former great player, almost like a
Blanco.
I don't know, almost like the old broke down player gets one more shot to be something special and to save this team. Do you think we should give it a shot? I mean, do you need to see the trailer to really have a sense?
I think I would probably allow someone else to tell me if it comes across in the subtitles and stuff like that. Comedy, I think, is sometimes tough with subtitles because it's in the delivery. There's another because did you watch Club de Cuervos a little bit? Is that the Canadian one?
No, that was 21 Thunder. That was bad. I watched that.
That sounds like
a lot. I watched way too much 21 Thunder. I'm saying Club de Cuervos is another Mexican show that was on Netflix, and I didn't finish it, but it was also a comedy kind of thing. It was about by the way,
Trooper Barry coming in hard. He's also got the link in the chat to you can hear us on the radio on Matador. I'm guessing so. I think that's what he says he found.
Yeah, we
must have posted it on Twitter back in the day.
We do have it on Twitter. If you want to bear with me for just like 1 minute, I can play.
Lefty wants to know if this show is based on Josie Altidore's time in Mexico.
Speculation about the threat of future outbreaks.
It's not just speculation, is it?
You know there's going to be more attacks.
I told you I know nothing of the sort.
He can shuffle the lineup all he wants.
Is that why you sent Sen out of the city?
Because he's still got nothing in the slugging department.
The house in Palm Springs?
No argument there, but
Come on, you must know something.
Shut up.
Another riot ban on the line. Rick from Boyle Heights, you're on the air. Talk to me.
Hey, Jay. First-time listener, long-time caller. Just want to get your opinion on last week's amazing performance by Tony Bravo, rising star of the LA Riot.
Whoa, hold up. Tony Bravo?
The Matador, yo.
What? That's still a thing? He hasn't even scored a goal yet.
Is that your fucking brother?
He's not the goals. He's the performance.
I think so.
And that would be a no. Not one goal. It's been nice talking to you, Rick from Boyle Heights.
For all the latest Tony Bravo news and merchandise, go to www.TonyMatadorBravo.com. #Matador.
That's about all I can take of that guy. We need to pay some bills. More.
There it is. That was us on.
Do you want to try that line read on Whoa Whoa again?
I mean, we how many times did we were we
did a couple times. It was a couple
okay.
times, but the other guy wasn't there, so his voice was dropped in after the fact. So we
course.
didn't know how the other guy was going to read his.
We were not responding to Rick from Boyle Heights, who actually
Yeah.
was Tony Matador's brother. By the way, this is a classic line. Classic line from
I do
the
not
show.
have that still in the. When the drops got killed that one time where you lost all the drops and it started over, we lost some good one. We never got the original and one back.
I have some issues with old drops that have gone.
I gotta say, Connor's in my camp though. He's got to say Jared is the better actor.
Excuse me, sir. I take massive
whoa.
offense to this. Really? Wow. Okay. I mean, we could only do so much with the material that we're given, Jared.
By the way, paid more than most anything else we've ever done for the amount of work.
It was
when the first checks came in. Holy crap! I'm about to pay taxes on this.
There's a small chance. I've moved a couple times since then. There's a small chance that I've missed out on some residuals, but I don't think it's
get one check a couple of years ago, and I think it was like $3 or something like that. But I can't remember what was that first check for. It was a lot.
I don't remember. It was like
$1,400 or something.
It was something like that. So at one point, Matador was available to watch through a streaming service, and I think I pitched some watch-alongs and we didn't follow through for the besties. I believe it is now available to buy over on Apple or Fandango, Amazon, and YouTube. I don't know if I want to be paying for Matador, but maybe we run a campaign, and maybe if we get a little bit of change from the besties, we can do a watch. Like if we threw it up on YouTube while we were here, would they get that would be bad. We could do
that.
We could post it in only secret places where only besties could see it, not publicly. And I think that would be fun. The first episode, I actually did go back and watch the first episode. Jared, do you have any recollection of Matador at all?
I just remember it was filmed in the Galaxy's State at Home Depot Center. I remember like a lot of the stuff was in there.
The opening scene is absolutely bonkers. It involves like a showdown with a drug. This is before Tony Matador.
Is it the LA River? Like on the bridge,
there's wild shit going on, like wild shit. So I don't know. It would be worth a watch only because it's so over the top. So maybe we can find a way to watch this without having to. It says stream free on Prime Video. Maybe I can. Do you have Prime Video?
All I know is that you need to go back and clip the hot dog and donuts. I miss. Now that I know that we don't have it, I miss it a lot.
I forgot about that factor.
Oh, Nikki Whelan.
I forgot about that. Yeah, she's in
she
that
was
show.
Hot.
You may have talked about it a little bit back in the day.
A little bit.
There may be archive shows somewhere. Although that's
was there nudity in the show?
I don't think so.
It was close.
Yeah. Oh, remember how he gets trained up by the woman who used to be on Fox Soccer Channel?
Yeah.
Remember? I don't remember her name. Oh man, this is a trip down memory lane. We're gonna save this for bonus stuff or whatever we do next time we get together because we're way over. Thanks very much to JTT, everybody who chimed in on the show. Again, actually, let me tell you the best way to interact with the Best Soccer Show outside of watching us live and commenting and all that. Go over to Spotify. If you watch the show on Spotify, because we're over there now, it actually helps us a lot more than if you watch it anywhere else. Wink, wink, nod, nod. Okay. So the return for your boys is better and we can make more stuff because I can tell my wife I'm making money if you go and watch us on Spotify.
Now I know
is where to do it. Patreon.com/The Best Soccer Show for bonus content, the Daily Davis, other nonsense, or DTF. Maybe I'll change the name. I can change the name. I'm free to do that. It's whatever I want. It's my thing.
You better tell your wife that's what you're calling
it. She'll be like, yep, I sure am. What do you need to tell the people before we get out of here? Anything?
Help out Jason Davis, all his ventures. Watch them.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Yeah, yeah.
Morning kick around, all that stuff.
Oh, you don't have to promote from it. I do appreciate that.
I got nothing to promote.
Not well, this you could just tell. I don't know.
My kid just finished a great run the musical Tommy at the local theater. I got nothing.
Sweet. Congratulations. You should have named one of your kids Maximilian. We're going to be out of here. Let's go. Talk to you guys later. Bye.
Michael freaking Roscoe Fiscal.
Damn, dog, that's in a post.
It was there. Oh, here we go. Soften them up. Hit them. What?
Go to DEFCON 2.
WNBC. WNBC.
So feel respect for the Gegner. So feel respect for the Gegner.
The Sausage King of Chicago.
Can I get a manager? Can I please get a manager?
What are we doing?
Danger zone!
Get to the chopper!
Jay Rodius.